All right, so today we are going to learn about the R formulae. So basically you look at this. Now later you will learn that actually you will be given an equation and there will be a number here. However, if we have a number here, let's say 2, right? Okay, as long as it's not 0, it's not 0, right? If 0, you can use sine over cosine, become tangent. But if it's not 0, no matter how you shift, you cannot solve it, right? Correct? So that's why we need to have an R formula to combine the 2 trigo into 1 trigo. Then we can solve it. So can you understand the idea behind us? So it is actually quite a simple thing to do, but it's quite a bit to learn. So let us start first. So for this example, we have A cosine, okay, theta plus B sine theta. All right, our aim is to combine it. So when we combine it, that's why it's called R formula, because there'll be an R here. Okay, then you will become R cosine. I'll explain to you why you better memorize. Theta. What do you think is the operation? Plus or minus?
Plus.
Okay, there'll be alpha here later. Plus or minus?
Minus.
The cosine, double angle, all this, the cosine addition formula, all the operation is opposite, right? So then this one will be minus, okay? Opposite. So if this is minus, then here will be plus. It will be opposite. It is consistent with addition formula and double angle formula. I'll explain to you why it's consistent. Okay, so what's the question? The question is what is R and what is alpha? This is called alpha. Now in order to find R, right, you will use Pythagoras theorem equals to square root of A square plus B square. Okay, that's how you find R. Okay, the red color part is the one you have to memorize. And in order to find alpha, you need to use tangent alpha equals to B over A. You must memorize these two. The good thing is for this part here, they will usually tell you this will become this. But your job is to find R and to find alpha. Okay, next. You realize that actually I can swap place, right? Because it's 1 plus 2, so it can become 2 plus 1 also, right? These two can swap. So I can put this first, which will look something like that. You will look. The sine comes first. Then the cosine comes later. Correct. What I did is I just swap only. No change in anything, right? However, okay, the combined form will change. So it becomes R sine theta alpha. What do you think is the sign? Recall the double angle formula and the addition formula. It will be same. Okay. So the R and tangent is the same. Okay, what to take notes? This one is very important to take notes. B and A are always positive. Leave it as the positive value. Okay? Can you please take note? The B and A, just use the positive value. Don't care what the question is, just use the positive value. All right? So if this number is minus 3, right? Minus 3 possible. You just write here as 3. Now, there's nothing wrong with the question. This is an expression. There is no equal sign for this type of question. We will need to use it for the second part of today's lesson. So I need to find the maximum minimum value of this. And when it's maximum, what is the corresponding angle? When it's minimum, what is the corresponding angle? So based on what we have just discovered, let us combine it into one single trigo term. So what must I write? R, come track. Just follow. Okay, so either you use this or you use this. So which one do you use? Cosine theta opposite minus alpha. Okay, most of the time you don't have to worry. Exam, we will write this for you. Most of the time, exam, we will write for you. Again, the keyword is most of the time. So you still try to remember a bit. Okay, the next thing is do not try to swap it. You know what I'm talking about. Please don't go and do this. It's very, very extra one. Please don't go and do this and then go and use what? R sine theta plus alpha, right? It's the same thing. It's as, don't go and swap it, please, tolong. I don't want to mark two version. Just keep to this, all right? The reason is exam question, they will give you this form. They will give it to you most of the time. So there's no swapping one. So we just leave it like that. All right, so let's find R. Can you try to find R using the formula? Okay, what is A, what is B? Very simple. This is A, this is B. Okay, so what is the value of R? R is square root 41. No? It's in your resource booklet. Right? So how did I get square root 41? Square root of 5 square plus 4 square equals to square root 41. Okay, so R is done. Now for alpha, you have to write tangent alpha equals to what over what? Okay, this is where student mix up lah. What number over what number? Okay, B over A. This one cannot mix up. It must be B over A. All right. And then can you find alpha? Now, if the question never say you can use degree lah. Everybody likes to use degree, right? But if the question is in radian, you change your calculator to radian mode. For now, can we use degree? What is the angle? 38.7. Okay, so what happened is I will now put this back here and I will now have a single trigonometric term, just a single one. Okay, and take some time to look at this. This is just one trigo term. We can solve ma. So that's the whole objective law. Now, what is the maximum value of this? What is the maximum? Okay, now it's concept already. You have learned this before. How do you think I can find the maximum value of this? I give you a clue. It's from here. How do you think I can find the maximum value? Yeah, correct. When this is a cosine graph, right? What is the highest? 1, no? Cheryl say 1. Hey, you all should know this. Don't expect everything I spoon feed you. You know cosine graph, right? The highest you can go is 1, right? The lowest is -1, right? So when can I have a maximum? When this part is 1. So the maximum value, the maximum is square root 41. So what is the corresponding theta? It is when this is equals to 1. Am I right? I just told you. So can you find the value of theta? You inverse cosine, you get 0, right? Then you bring the 38.7 over, you get 38.7. Okay, and that's it. Okay, now for minimum, you must tell me the answer already. If not, that means your concept really very weak. What is the minimum value for this expression now? What is the minimum value? Yeah, it is negative square root 41. Why? Because it is when this value is equals to -1. What is theta? Go and find. Theta equals to 218.7. Who didn't get it? Raise your hand. I will write down step by step. So, but now I can use, do you realize that this is actually addition formula? So let me expand it out. Okay, they're going to expand this out because this is usually given, right? I say many times. So they're going to expand this out. What do you get? Addition formula. Let's revise. Cosine. And then? Hey, don't make that mistake. Plus sine. Oh, why got R here? Because I need to multiply R. Okay, right? Sine, cosine, cosine, sine, cosine, cosine, sine, sine. So cosine, cosine, sine, sine. But I need to multiply R, right? So I need to multiply R here and multiply R here. Again, this is really what the students do. Okay, and then this one and this one is the same, right? So the student realized that this part here belongs to what number? Compare. What number is this? The circle part. So this part must be 5, what? So they will say R cosine alpha equals to 5. Must be 5, Okay, and then the circle parts must be 4. So they will write R sine alpha equals to 4. I never teach them this, they go and derive themselves. Okay, so then I put sine over cosine, right? I put sine over cosine. So sine alpha over cosine alpha, which is tangent alpha, right? What is the value? 4 over 5. They derive this whole thing just to do this part only. And not done yet. They derive another thing. Because why do we use sine over cosine? Because we have to solve alpha. We have to solve. Again, got 2 cannot solve, right? We try to combine into 1, which is tangent. So once I tangent this, I can solve alpha. I square this. So I r square cosine square alpha equals to 25. Square, 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 square. So same here. Square, square, square. Then I realized I got one identity, right? The very first one that I learned. I plus them together, what will happen? R square sine square alpha plus r square cosine square alpha is this one plus this one, right? I can factorize out the r square. Do you realize that this is actually 1? You must know like this one, the formula sheet will give you, this is actually 1. So r square is actually 16 plus 25. And r will be square root 16 plus 25. You look at the part. Okay, what is r? Yes, square root of 101. So you do the working. R equals to square root of a square plus b square is square root of 101. Okay. Okay, I need to find alpha. How do I find alpha? Come. Yeah, it's okay to look at the whiteboard. How to find alpha? Tangent. Right. Tangent alpha equals to, yes, 1 over 10. And alpha is a very small number. 1, correct. 5.71. Okay. So I will put down here 5.71. Okay, because this is sine, right? Start with sine. So the addition formula, this is a plus, this is plus, this is plus. We are done for the first part. Just find r, find alpha, easy peasy. Okay, second part, I need to find the maximum. Okay, by now you should be able to tell me maximum. Yes, the maximum is 101. When does it happen? When sine theta plus 5.71 equals to 1. Find theta. Okay. Again, who cannot get theta, raise your hand. This is a basic part. You must get it. You must get it. Okay, next part, I want to find minimum. What is the minimum value of this expression here? What is the minimum? Negative square root 101. When does it happen? When sine theta plus 5.71 equals to negative 1. Now you find theta. The problem is coming up already. Okay, but okay, so when you inverse this, you get negative 90. It's not wrong. It is not wrong. Correct or not? It's not wrong. Okay, what is another number for negative 90? Okay. You see, negative 90 is down here, right? So if I go this way, the usual route, what angle is this? 270. So 270, and then theta will be 264.3. 264.3. The resource book, they got give you the domain. Okay, I write down for the sake of the video. Okay, in the resource book and in the question, we will always give you a domain. And precisely because the domain is given, in this case, it should be theta, right? That's why we are not using the negative. Okay? If the domain contains negative, just use the negative. Okay, the easy part 1 finished. There is actually a few tricks. So I'm going to write down here, all right, because of the video. So, okay, so trick number 1, all right, you have to use length 2 and 8. You have to use length 2 and 8. Confirm because this inside the so-called expression here. Okay, the second trick is you must find every single place that has theta. Now, in this case, the theta is here, right? Later, when I draw lines, you'll realize there are more thetas coming out. Just label every single theta. Okay, that's the trick. Okay, we want to prove why this length here can be expressed in this format. Okay, now the third trick is, okay, which I just mentioned, you have to draw lines. Okay, what type of lines? You have to draw vertical lines or horizontal lines. Okay, most of the time. I never seen diagonal lines. Mostly it's horizontal and vertical. Okay, let's try. So now I can actually draw lines like this to form right angles, triangles. Okay, I draw lines to form, don't draw yet. To form right angled triangles. Okay, that's the idea. Why? Because this thing later is always coming out from Tokaso one. This is from Tokaso, this is from Tokaso. Okay, I draw this sure wrong one. You need to know why this is wrong. Okay, because you see, I need to use the length 2 and 8, right? In Tokaso. This is okay, right? I got the 2 here. But this triangle got 2 and 8 or not? Don't have, right? Then there's only 2 right angle triangles, right? This one got 2, I'm very happy. Got 2. But does this have 8? Then don't draw like that. Okay, now I draw what Chloe just suggested. Number one, it cuts my alpha, my theta here. Very painful. I don't want to cut it. Okay. And secondly, I got 2 and 8 here, right? But I got no 2 and 8 at all. I need 2 of them. I need 2 of them. One right angle triangle here, one right angle triangle here. These are the tricks. Again, I need 2 right angle triangles. So cannot. Okay. So what is the good way to cut it? Yeah, very good, very good. One line down. You see, I use this 8 already, right? But I need to use this 2. Yeah. Okay, so that's the trick. So later, if I find this length plus this length, I can find OR already. Okay, now the last rule is you must find everywhere that got theta, everywhere. So how I do it is like that. This is 90, this is theta. This part is 90 minus theta. This one you must know. So which one is theta? The top one or the bottom one? This is 90, this thing. This part is 90 minus theta. So this one must be theta what? 90 minus away this. 90 minus away this. This part here will be theta. And what would this be? 90 minus theta. I don't care already because I got all the thetas I want. Can you find any more thetas? No, right? First, we want to find this. Okay, so what we do is opposite over hypo. So sine theta equals to the opposite. You can write here as A, right? During exam, your question paper, opposite over hypo. So what is the value of A? 2 sine theta. We got one part already. Now for the second part, I use the big triangle. I want to get this part here, B. Because later I want to use A plus B to find OR, right? You need A plus B. So I need to use, it's given down here. No need to think one. I confirm have to use cosine. So cosine theta equals to B over 8. And B will be 8 cosine theta. Final presentation, in order to find OR, I need to use A plus B, right? So it will be 2 sine theta plus 8 cosine theta. Now look at this whole thing. Is it worth that 2 marks? You go and decide. All my students will try one. Now, usually during exam, they will ask you to form in the R formula. They will tell you They will tell you this. Tell you what? They will tell you to form it in this alpha plus. They will tell you I don't know why the resource book never tell you. Usually they'll tell you to form it in this form first. So what is the value of R? Can someone help to find? Square root of how much? 260. 268. Okay. Square root of 68. Okay. Alpha. Tangent alpha. I'm going to erase this. Okay, this is my side working. 8 over 2, right? What is alpha? 8 over 2, ma. B over 8. 76.0. Can? Yes. So the maximum value of OR is simply square root 68. So the maximum OR is this. But what is the theta is when sine theta plus 76.0 equals to 1. So theta will be 90 minus 76 equals to 14.0. And this is the reason why we study this part, the whole thing about our formula. This part equals to 6, right? Cannot solve one. Like that, directly cannot solve one. You can solve it, let me know. Correct? The question says OR equals to 6, right? Cannot solve, ma. I need the R formula, which I have done just now. Okay. Now I can solve already. So that's the whole purpose of this last part of the chapter. Okay. I do step by step with you. Sine theta plus 76 equals to 6 over square root 68. So now just do the inverse. What is the angle here? 46.7. Okay. Now when you minus, it becomes a negative, right? You see, sine always got two answers, right? One acute, one obtuse answer, right? Got two answers. If I know I minus 76 later, I'm going to get negative, right? So for me, I will usually just use 180 minus this. I'll get it's 133.33333, right? 0.3, okay, 0.3. Okay, so you get 133.3. Then you minus 76. And the answer will be 57.4. Okay, let's do a round up. Okay, the homework can hand in another time. But I try to finish in case next week I'm not around.